much. It's a pleasure for us to be here. So let me share the presentation on the screen with you. Can you see it? Can you see the presentation on the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. So as I said, it's a pleasure for us to be here with you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Damien Conaré, and we're going to do a two voices presentation with my colleague Nicolas Bricas. And we are running the activities of the UNESCO Chair in World Food Systems, based in Montpellier, south of France. And many our activities turn around three pillars: educational programs, research programs, mainly around urban food systems, and science-society dialogues. So as a quick introductions, I would like to share with you some recent collaboration we have developed in our chair, on the theme of food environments. So first partnership was with the City London University, with whom we have created an international community of practices on the lived experience of food environments. And I guess, and I know from the participants I have seen on the Zoom session that some of you are part of this community of practice. It's still an open process, so all people are welcome to gather. And I wanted to share with you a first policy brief that we have developed through this community of practice, which was an overview of research methods that can be of interest to all of you. Mainly qualitative research methods that we have classification within three groups. First one was how to explore experiences, perceptions, beliefs, and practices and social networks. That was mainly to provide insight into how people experience and interact with food environments on a daily basis from an insider or, let's say, emic perspective, specific to their context. And so we explore the benefits and limitations of both of these three kinds of qualitative research methods. So the first group, as I said, is more like on an emic perspective through, let's say, interviews, group discussions, diaries, or visual methods like concept mapping or photos. Second group consists of observing practices in situ to identify the habits of daily life. It's quite similar to group one research methods, but with more involvement from the researchers who directly witnesses the actions of participants through observations, accompanying participants on shopping trips and transect walks. And third group of classification was to design policy and interventions with participants, drawing on their lived experiences. So this last group of method was tend to place the participant at the center of the research process, meaning that it actively engages the communities that are affected by policy decisions in the research process to propose changes. So this is a report that is in free access online. So please visit the City London University website or the UNESCO Chair website. You will find this research policy brief. So once again, comparing the benefits and limitations of various research methods. And the questions following this work on comparing different methods was to understand how it could effectively translate into concrete policy recommendations for decision makers and communicate them. So there were different conclusions, once again available in this session brief that is freely available online. And among the different conclusions, we've seen that well, to be effective, to effectively translate those findings and those evidence, it was said that evidence must be contextually relevant, timely, and actionable, meaning that they need to be practically, they need to reflect a practicality. Also, the evidence generation benefits from engaging multiple decision makers and other end users right from the research inception phase. So meaning that in the process of research, it's very very useful to engage with decision makers. And also that the evidence translation require the consideration of target groups and wider stakeholder perspectives of policies. And it's essential to consider more specifically industry and consumer perspectives when translating and communicating evidence. So we kind of put an emphasis on the industry and consumer, which really rebounds with another collaboration that we have developed within the EUFC, which is the European Union Food Policy Coalitions. It's a coalition of 50 plus NGOs, think tanks, grassroots organizations that gather together to lobby on the establishment of a European food policy. And we have published in a particular group on food environments a policy brief that has just been published, once again available online on food environments. And we also put the emphasis on the, let's say, the middle of the food chain, and saying that the food environments mediate between consumers and producers, translating the demand patterns into production signals, and food environments affect which products are demanded, to what standard they should be produced, and what the sale price should be. Meaning that the middle of the food chain as a strategic strategic intervention point. So, as we know, food environments are commercially determined by actors in the middle of the food chain: retailers, manufacturers, food services companies, advertisers, and other economic operators like delivery services, which is quite important, but also public procurers. So really, we made a focus on actors in the middle of the food chain, considering them as strategic partners or strategic oh my God.
En français.
Des cibles, targets, sorry, as strategic targets to reshape food environments. And those targets in the middle of the chain are not always the one that you see in the Foodscape. This is what we entitled this presentation. Foodscape are not only what you see. And this is where I pass the torch on to my colleague, Nicolas.
Thank you, Damien, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm happy, and thank you for this opportunity to share with you some words about a new phenomenon that can maybe completely change the foodscapes, maybe at the beginning in urban areas and then in rural areas. I mean, I want to talk about the digital economy and the investments of digital economy in the food system. I will not talk about the digitalization of agriculture, but mainly on what can change the foodscape for consumers. As you can see, with this data, we have now a lot of people that are connected to internet in the world, and everywhere in the world. Of course, this data depends on the continents and on countries, but we know that now a lot of people are connected to internet. And the last data we have show that we have a very rapid increasing of the number of people that buy some products through internet. At the beginning, it was not mainly with food, but it begins now to be also food that is bought through internet. And it's the first thing I want to talk about. It's this e-commerce, the possibility to buy some food through internet. And it's not only food products, but it's also meals. Today, the last data of this year consider that between 15 and 20% of the food products that are bought in the world are bought through internet, which that means that it's a rapid increasing. There are several possibilities after you bought it through internet to have the products. You can go to a drive to pick up at the supermarket. You can have a delivery now in new shops that are in the neighborhoods, or that can be delivered directly at home. And we know that we have a very strong transformation of the delivery system based on internet, because based on geolocation and based on the possibility to help the drivers to deliver in the city. So that's the first thing in the digitalization of the food system. The second one is that we have now new kind of advice and mutual aid between consumers through the social networks. And maybe you know that all these systems on your cell phone or on your computer to help you to choose the products based on a notation of the products, and we have a very rapid increasing of this kind of database. Now we have Word database with many products that are evaluated from the environmental, nutritional, and sometimes social issues that can help people to choose what they think it's better for them. We have new kind of exchanges of experiences between consumers. And for example, you can see the rapid development of what it's called grocery hauls. It's videos where people share their experience of purchasing food. And for example, a new one that was very recent this year, in one day you have more than 160,000 views of this experience. We have millions of people in France that use, for example, this kind of videos, but also we begin to see it very quickly in Asia and of course in America. I don't know studies of what happened in Africa, but we know, for example, that it begins in Northern Africa. It's also cooking recipes websites to help people to know how to cook. And we discovered, for example, through research in Morocco, very strong exchanges through WhatsApp between women to talk about their experiences in cooking and how to manage the price increase, the crisis. And during the COVID crisis, it was a very big increase of these exchanges. So it means that all of these give us opportunities because these systems help to connect providers and consumers, or providers and buyers that will, in B2B or B2C, with the development of virtual markets. Okay, that's an opportunity, and it's an opportunity that is very used. We see that in Mali, for example, between small producers and small shops in the city. It's an increase of the concurrence between providers because you have a transparency of the characteristics of the products. It's very easy now to compare different kind of products on a website, and it was more difficult to do it in the market. Now it's easier to do it through this kind of systems. A lot of new activities are allowed by the e-commerce. We saw that in Asia, for example, with a lot of people that are beginning to cook for their family, but also for other people, and they can sell some part of the meal to people, and it's done through the WhatsApp, for example, or the Facebook system. But of course, there are some risks, and of course, inequalities in the digital access is the first risk. Even if we have an increase of people that are using internet devices, and we know that we will have now new big operators, the Google, Amazon, Facebook, Alibaba, and Apple, that are the main investors today in the food system through this digitalization of the food system. So it means that maybe we will have a change of actors, of stakeholders that are involved in the food system with these new kind of digital stakeholders. And as we begin to see in France, we know that, of course, you have more transparency with the database of all the products that are sold in the country. But we know that we have also a possibility of manipulation of the information on the products. And we know that we can buy some votes on the nets, and there is a new market to have some likes on the website. So it means new kind of regulation about this kind of information. This was to say that we always consider Foodscapes as where are shops, markets, gardens in the city or in the country. And now we must take into account that we have a new kind of Foodscape that is appearing very quickly, which is through digitalization of the food system. And we must think about it in order to see the links between what's happened on the streets and what's happened on the computer. Thank you.